Hi everyone, I'm GREYMOND. I'm an OCD recovery coach. I've been helping people recover from OCD for over 10 plus years now. Previous to that, I had severe OCD myself that I fully recovered from. Today, I wanted to talk to you about is OCD genetic? They've done studies on people with OCD. They took people with OCD, their family members, and the control group. Control group had no OCD, no OCD in family. What they found is for people with OCD, as well as their family members, their brain looks a little bit different from the control group. Again, that's for both people with OCD as well as their family members, and similar to each other. Some areas are overactive, analysis. Some areas are underactive, stress management for one. Um, what does that show to us? It shows that yes, definitely there is a genetic component to it, but don't be scared by that. Great minds think and apparently on scans look alike. So you look like the anxious group. Somebody who inherited maybe an aggression streak looks like their group. Somebody that may have inherited a depression streak looks like their group. It doesn't mean that you are doomed to have OCD forever. Why? Because the family members of the people with OCD that on the scans the brain looked similar do not have OCD. They might be just a little bit anxious. So it's predisposition to anxiety. It's not doomed to have OCD. I just want to make that clear. Now, how does that translate in terms of what I see with clients? With clients, they'll tell me this is a usual story. Not every person, but I would say 85% of people, let's say, they'll say, I have OCD. My sister is slightly anxious. My brother has some OCD tendencies, and my other sister is totally fine. And say, dad is a little bit anxious as a personality, but my mom doesn't seem to have it. Right? So now we can see that it probably came from dad. And then some family members inherited more of it, some people have inherited less of it. My specific client got OCD, right? This is the story that I hear over and over again. So there is a genetic component, but it doesn't mean that you are doomed. Again, I just want to make that very clear. And I can tell you personally within my family, I see that a lot of people are quite anxious, but I happened in my day to develop severe OCD. I've overcome severe OCD and now I don't have it anymore. So this is not a doomsday situation, right? You will be fine. You just need to do recovery work. On top of that, they show that as you do ERP on the scans, it shows that when you do ERP, your brain actually rewires itself. On a physical level, it rewires itself, which is a good time for me to bring up this situation where a lot of the times when people start to do ERP, because ERP is difficult, they'll say, I've been doing ERP for a few days. Why have I not recovered yet? Well, this is why you haven't recovered yet, is because on a physical level, your brain is changing. You cannot heal in a day. On a physical level, if you run, fall, scrape your knee, you will not heal in a day. It will kind of start to crust over in a day, but it will not heal in a day. There's physical processes that need to take place. You need to do your part, which means disregarding, day in, day out, disregarding. So you're making the situation better rather than when you're paying attention, you're actually strengthening OCD. So it's very, very important that you do your part and just continue to do it. Let the brain do its job and figure itself out. You can't control the physical process of that. So I hope this answers some of the questions for you. In the very near future, I am going to be adding a section on the website with various OCD research, so you can read the research papers for yourself. I think with OCD recovery, if you approach it from a position of understanding how OCD works, which if you go to your local doctor, believe me, you will know way more than them already. Um, and this is not to say that doctors are bad or anything like that. This is just to say that OCD is not that common. And in medical school, as well as in practice, there's just not a lot of it that they see. You know, they might say, a local doctor, how many clients will they have that have OCD compared to depression, compared to uh, aggression, family issues, right? That's what they see a lot of. OCD, okay, maybe a few, but it's nothing compared to, for example, not to talk about myself, but it's nothing compared to what I see when I'm talking to, say, 7, 10 clients each day, including weekends for the last 10 plus years, right? So it's just how it is. And doctors generally, depending on countries, are different, but I know in North America, you can't see people, if you're a doctor or a therapist, you can't see people out of your state, and definitely cannot see people out of your country, because you violate your diploma, and you can actually lose your medical license. So they literally see people who are local. And how many local people do you know, for example, who have OCD? Besides my clients who I talk to through Skype, WhatsApp, FaceTime, locally here, I've never in person met a person with OCD. Everybody I talk to is through the online. So that's why they have very, very little experience. Because it's not, I mean, unfortunately, and a lot of people kind of get sad about this, that, it is rare ish. I think, to be honest with you, I think that it's actually a lot more common than people realize. Because, again, if you even look at the genetic component, um, going back to this is kind of a little bit maybe controversial topic, but you know how people sometimes say, well, don't say that you're a little OCD because you have no idea. Well, actually, I will do a separate video on it. A study has shown that people with OCD and people without OCD get the same thoughts. Just people with OCD start to spin them and attribute them to themselves. What does this mean about me, that I had this thought? Do I'm a terrible person? Blah, 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 right? Or what if this is true, or what if it will become true? While people without OCD, they just dismiss them. But the thought itself, that initial thought, is the same. And that studies have shown that. So they also a little bit understand the situation. And considering that the genetic component runs through the family, I think a lot of people who have it at a very, very mild level never go to the doctor, never classify it as OCD until it gets to a situation where it's no longer something you can tolerate. Then you go to the doctor, get classified as OCD. Eventually, as they say, again, research shows that it takes about 10 years to get properly diagnosed. So that means you go to one doctor, they have no idea, another doctor, they have no idea, then finally you found somebody that understands what you're going through, which is, again, rare because of how those systems are set up. Not because the doctors are bad, but because of how the system is set up. They just don't have enough experience. So I hope this clarifies things for you. I am here if you need additional help. You can book a session with me through youhaveocd.com and set up the appointment through there as well. I will be back tomorrow. And like I said, I am looking forward to doing this research area on youhaveocd.com as well. I will have a video notifying you when that is done. It's something we're working on right now, as well as some other stuff. You'll see in the next probably week. There's something coming up. Okay, that's it for me for today. I will see you tomorrow.